Hi, Ellen Ingalls here. It is 8:15 at night. I'll try to go at night if I can't go at 8:15 in the morning, but welcome to my little show, Pressure Free Living. Uh, I want to talk about dreams and envisioning. It is a step in the pressure free method. And we just came off the Oscars, we just came off the Olympics. I love both of those things because you see people who years ago had a little glimmer of a dream. And it took so much effort and so much time and devotion to bring the dream to reality. And just because you have that one night or that one event, the dream is not over. Like it continues and it moves forward in other ways. So last night were the Oscars, and one of my favorite moments in the Oscars was when the short animated puppet, I've got to get the names of all these people, but the puppet creators, I think they said it was 7 years in the making. So for 7 years, they were creating the puppets and creating this film. It took them 7 years. That just is amazing to me. In 7 years, a human being is a completely different being physically, cellularly. So 7 years is quite a long time to devote to a project. Sometimes things take time. Talking to some people who work on things, I remember the first glimmer I had of creating a music school was in 1991. I actually wrote that I wanted to create a music school. I detailed what it was going to look like before I turned 50. And it actually happened at age 36. So let's see, I was 29 when I had the idea. Oh, is that 7 years? It took 7 years till we opened the doors to that school. So sometimes dreams, visions take time. But if we don't start the process of opening up our imagination, it just doesn't happen. I've been writing a bit about imagination in this updated workbook that I'm creating for Pressure Free. Writing a whole thing on imagination. I have a quote by Mark Twain. Like some of Mark Twain's understandings of physics came because he just opened up his imagination and he started to see patterns. He started to see things. And so if you take a moment and ask yourself, what are some of those dreams that you had when you were little? What are some of those things you've thought would be really wonderful to do or experience? Some of the dreams that are on the shelf, and give yourself an opportunity to envision what it would look like to make those dreams happen. So I'm going to share a story about my son and the person who is now his wife when they first met in person. I asked my son at one of my retreats to give a session. He has some great curriculum on strategy, goal setting, envisioning. And so he did an envisioning session with the people at my retreat. And he had everyone go off and write a vision of a moment or a day, a moment that they would really love to see come true. They would really love to experience it sometime like 10 years in the future. And then we all came back together and he said, well, what if you could make those visions happen in 6 months? What if you could actually have this thing that you planted the seed of that to happen in 10 years, it could happen in 6 months. And then we went around the circle and everybody shared. So Emma, who's now my daughter-in-law, she shared that she wanted to go to Hawaii. She's never been to Hawaii. She wanted to be on the beach in Hawaii. Like that's like a lifelong dream. So by year 10, she would love to have that 10 years in the future. And then my son, his vision was sitting in a ski chalet and he's got like this neon, because it's 10 years in the future, this cool neon ski suit, and he's looking out over this valley. So that was his vision. Hers was Hawaii. We leave the retreat, and gosh, must have been like 2, 3 weeks later. I get a text from my son, and he said, I've booked tickets. I'm going to go to Saas-Fee, Switzerland, where Emma, who's a ski coach, is coaching skiers, and I'm going to visit her there. I'm like, oh my gosh. So he ends up in a ski lodge in Switzerland. He did not have the neon suit because they haven't created it yet. That's 10 years in the future. But That was just a few weeks after we had had that retreat. So they get back to respective homes. Emma goes to Northern Ontario. Hugh comes back to Grand Rapids, Michigan. And a few weeks after that, my youngest son, who's a marathoner, texts out to our family, going to Hawaii to run the Honolulu Marathon. Who wants to join? And so Hugh texts Emma, and the two of them, with William's college roommate, the four of them go to Hawaii. And Emma was on the beach in Hawaii almost exactly 6 months from when we had had our retreat. So spin yourself out to 10 years from now and imagine, like, what is it that you'd really like to have happened in that 10-year period, sometime within there or in 10 years? Like, what is one of your dreams? Let's see, I was 29. So I had a 20-year dream when I wanted to create a music school, like 20 years in the future. And it happened in 7. So I cut the time in less than half. But it's fascinating that we can actually start to bring time and make things happen so much faster than we ever believed possible once we can really start to clearly see what that vision is. So I use as two things. I have a coach who would say to put all your senses, and you hear this quite often with coaches, put all your senses, your sight, like what are you seeing? What are you tasting? What are you hearing? What do things feel like on your feet if you're barefoot? Do you feel the wind? What do you smell? Do you smell evergreen trees? That's like a favorite scent of mine. Um, what do put all your senses into it. So I call that super sense. So you can super sense whatever this vision is. Really imagine yourself there. Like if it was the ski lodge for me, then I would imagine like, what am I drinking? Do I have like hot chocolate with the most beautiful bunch of whipped cream on the top? Like what am I having as I'm sitting in this ski lodge? What am I tasting? Are my ski boots still on, or have I just are those removed and I'm just in like fuzzy socks on the floor? Is there a fire roaring? Can I smell the fire a little bit? Like what are all the things going on here? So you super sense. And then I add something I call supersizing. So if your goal is a ski lodge, maybe it's not just for the weekend, but you're there for 2 weeks. Or you're not going to just that one ski lodge. You're going to do a little tour, or you're going to go to Zermatt and you're going to go here and you're going to go here. You're going to see a few things. You can extend the trip and do more. So that is what I call supersizing, whatever that goal, dream, vision is for yourself. And that's because, if we have a particular target, if you were shooting a bow and arrow, you need to aim beyond the target in order to hit the target. Otherwise, your arrow is going to fall. So we have a lot of energy usually at first when we're starting out on some sort of a dream or vision. But when we get into the nitty-gritty, sometimes we can just start to like fall flat and it feels a little hard. Like, can we really do this thing? And so that's why like all of a sudden it's not really happening. We're not hitting the target. So aiming beyond the target is wonderful. Have a very specific target that you want to see, but aim beyond it. So super sense and super size, whatever your visions are. And it's funny, I used to talk a lot about goals with my clients, but I added the words vision and dream when I had a client who actually triggered when they heard the word goal because they ran a huge company and there were a lot of sales goals all the time. And they realized that every time someone said, we need to hit this sales goal, it was like a tension. And so just the word goal, so the G word, don't say the G word. So I started using the word vision and dream, and that really opened up so much for my client. So when I say targets as the first step of pressure free, um, that's where we start. Sometimes my clients' targets to begin with are really emotional. Like, I want to feel more confident. I want to feel happier. I want to feel less stressed. Well, what is less stressed? I feel composed in the moment. I'm not getting all hot and angry over the tiniest thing. There is a blizzard going on outside. I see the snowflakes. Um, so snow, the weather can be a trigger for people too, because now our plans have to change. Or you get stuck in a snow lodge up in the UP right now because they have like 40 inches of snow or something. So not only are we setting these targets and we're setting some time frames and we're looking to shorten those time frames, but at the same time, we're very, very open because the unexpected is going to hit as we're making progress, and the unexpected will hit, we'll hit the wall. So you hear that a lot. I used to coach track, and I worked with distance runners, and they'll hit the wall in the last lap, and so that feeling of writer's block, project block, like you're working on a project and all of a sudden you're just so drained. um, Anytime you start to feel this wall starting to come with any of your goals and your targets, you're working toward things. Here are some pressure-free tools to overcome that. The first that I always give my runners, some people don't like it, but because it doesn't feel natural, but I have them smile. If the corners of your mouth go up, you actually tell your brain that you're okay. You release these little neuropeptides. Those neuropeptides tell your brain that you don't have to go into fight or flight, that you have more power than you think you do. What I would often see with my runners when I coach them is that they finish the race and they're like exhausted. The last lap was really hard, but then 20 minutes later they're just running around with their friends with plenty of energy. So they didn't actually drain all their energy, but they hit that wall point. That also told me that they were triggering the stress response probably when the starting pistol went off. Even in shorter races, I've seen that. So, noting, of course, as you're moving into any project that you haven't triggered the stress response, you're much less apt to hit the wall. You won't need to take a nap in the afternoon. You're going to actually have energy for your whole day if you haven't triggered that stress response. Smile's a very fast one. Another one is just ribs up. Lift your ribs up away from your hips. Notice, like, here I am down here, kind of, and then I lift my ribs up. I grow a couple inches on the screen. So when you lift your ribs up, you elongate this front of your body in particular, but you also open up your spine. You might even feel something because you just opened up the discs of your spine and you're allowing blood flow and nerve flow and energy flow to really start to happen here. So ribs up, a little bit of a smile. Also chin up, like keep your head up. I've been thinking about the phrase lately. I'll probably do a whole live on this, but keep your head down, nose to the grindstone. When our head is in a down position, it's very easy to feel sad, anxious, tense, depressed. Our shoulders usually go up, and we're creating a C curve with our spine. We're going into this position. And I thought, on the other hand, I would always say to my athletes, keep your head up, like head up. Don't let that head drop, because if it drops even for a moment, your confidence starts to be shaken. So keep your head up. And then I add the ribs. So head up. As my coach, Leela Veronica, my personal body coach, she's like, head to the horizon. We don't look at the horizon enough. So maybe you need to like lift your computer up, put a box underneath it, get it up so that you're not in that slightly down position. That might help you get through that wall in the afternoon when you're working on something. So to recap, if you look at your target, what you're aiming for, is it a goal, a dream, or vision? And set a time way out in the future, and then see if you can shorten when it can actually happen. Super sense it. So put all your senses into your vision. So if you're in a ski lodge, what are you wearing? Do you smell the wood smoke from the fire? What are you drinking? What are you eating? What are you tasting? What do you see? What is your view? Get very clear about the view. What do you feel against your skin? Like, is there a breeze when somebody opens the door and you feel that breeze from the beautiful mountain air come over you? Mixture of evergreen and wood smoke, and what are you feeling? Are your feet out of your ski boots and you're really relaxed there, and your feet are on this beautiful thick carpet or wood floor? What are you sitting on? Put all of that in there. So you're super sensing, and then supersize it. Supersize the trip. It's not just we're going to ski here, let's go here and here. Let's hit the Italian Alps. Let's expand this trip to a couple of weeks so that you're aiming beyond the initial target that you're looking for. So I hope that's helpful. Targets are the first step of pressure free because that's really our fuel. And again, sometimes my clients, their targets are emotions. They want to feel more confident, more composed, less stressed. They want to feel calmer in situations, or they want to feel more courageous. They want to take on more challenges without burning out, without releasing these hormones that are going to really stop them from being their best selves and reaching their full potential and hitting those amazing targets that they're setting up for themselves. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I wish you a great pressure-free night. Bye.